Welcome, people. Are you listening? That's the question that I'm asking you today. Because a lot of miscommunication happen in relationships because people are not listening. In fact, just this past week, I sent out a communication, and throughout the whole communication, I clearly used the word I. And instead of people receiving what I said, it was internalized and they made it about themselves. And instead of coming to me directly and telling me that they didn't understand what I was talking about or that they took the communication personally, it was brought to me by a third party. So I ask you, are you listening when someone is speaking to you? Because if you're not, you're going to end up with a lot of miscommunication in your relationship and possibly hurt feelings when that should not be the case. So, three things that you can do to make sure that you are listening when someone is speaking to you about themselves. Number one, make sure your mind is clear. So sometimes we go through things and those things stay with us. They have already happened. We can't change anything about them, but we are still thinking about them. They are still a priority in our mind. And so if somebody's speaking to you and you're stuck on thinking about what has already happened, or maybe you're also thinking about what you need to do later on during the day, you are not present, you are not focused, you are not really listening to what that person is saying. So make sure that your mind is clear. That way you are focused on what that person is saying to you. Number two, make sure that you do not assume or read things that are not there. So I should not have to say this, but it is needed. It is necessary because sometimes we sense or we read things that are not there. We assume things, and that person that's speaking to you, they're not responsible for your assumptions. So you can assume something that's not there and then be frustrated and upset with that person, but that person never said what you assumed. You assumed that, and nobody is responsible for your assumptions. So again, do not assume or read things that aren't there, because again, if it's written communication and you're reading something that is not being said to you, again, that's an assumption. And you're putting your assumptions on another person, and you cannot grow and develop a relationship when you are assuming or reading things that are not there. And number three, be open to respond. So again, if you're going to grow and develop a relationship with somebody, you have to be open and willing to communicate with them. They should not be hearing from a third party how you feel about something they have said, especially when they have said it directly to you. Now, they're talking to you, and instead, you go and talk to somebody else about something that they have said. You have just shut down all possibility of them coming to you again, most likely, and developing or trying to communicate with you again, because you have taken this opportunity to be open to them, to respond to them, and went and told somebody else how you're feeling when you should have brought that to them. Now, be mindful that if you take something that someone has said and internalize it and make it about you, then you are not listening to what they have said to you about them. As always, I'm Coach Sam telling you 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours, you could change your life. So go ahead and do something life changing now.